Hello, good afternoon. It's 15 o'clock at KTH. It's a Wednesday, and it's a Wednesday when we do the pod Fikasnack om framtidens utbildning, or coffee talk about the future on education. My name is Johan. I work at the IT department as a business analyst, but fortunately, I'm not the one who's going to talk so much today. Rather, I'm joined by three guests. Very welcome, Jagruti, Shreyash, and Mikael.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good actually. It's for me, I have to say, it's such a privilege to have the opportunity to talk to colleagues within this university who work with the future of how we're supposed to be doing things. It's a very fortunate position to be in, to learn and to get to know you and the things that you do. And it's even more fun that we also have a spread in age, because sometimes we we tend to be a little bit more old people sitting only and talking. So it's good to see that we have more of a diverse spread here. But we are going to talk about a project which is about e-mobility, and it's a master's profile, which is interdisciplinary, right? And
Yes.
it's a pretty big project if you look on the project description. But could you just, either of you, tell me a little bit on, what's the overarching purpose of this project? Why is this important?
Yeah, shall I start maybe?
Sure.
We can do a little bit of a background first, maybe.
Yeah, please.
So there's been discussions for a long time, cross programs, cross schools, on electric mobility in connection to the Swedish Electromobility Center as well, on increasing visibility of electric mobility in general at KTH, since we have courses, but it might not be visible through the programs and the structure we currently have. So in the beginning of 2024, I think it was in January sometime, Anders was calling, Anders Malmqvist from ITM school, Jagruti's group, called to a meeting after a discussion with Göran Lindberg at Chemical CBH school. And then we had a meeting talking about how we can create a collective take on electric mobility at KTH, since it is so cross-disciplinary and cross schools as well.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we had a sequence of meetings, and later on turned out to be a good proposal for this future education project as well.
And how did the three of you get involved in this?
Yeah, so I saw at the KTH Hemsida at the website that there was they were looking for a position to map the different courses in this specialized e-mobility minor, and I thought it would be interesting to also get an overview of the different courses we have here over at KTH, and so I just applied.
Great.
And so I started working in August with the course mapping.
And in total, it's 5 different working groups. Do you belong to the same one, or are you belonging to different ones?
I think we are from different ones. So yeah, as Mikael mentioned, we come from different schools, and then after certain number of meetings, we divided our work packages, and we divided people who will be leading different groups over there. So I have been involved in the first stage of the project, where we are actually looking into different courses and their relevance. Also to e-mobility. So I'm working with maths on this. together with Mats and Lakshmi and Shreyash. So we are 4 people working on the first stage of, preparing up an inventory of the courses that are being offered and related to e-mobility. So I think we are working in different groups. So we have other groups which will look into further stages of this whole project, which would include, I think maybe Mikael, you can expand a bit more on the further stages. So the first stage is first looking at what we actually have.
Yeah,
at KTH right
mapping
now.
the current situation, sort of.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the second working group then, which I'm more part in as well, is structure, packaging, and communication. So then we will basically use this mapping data that we have got and looking into what kind of courses do we have. We can see already now that we have 27 courses from 5 different schools, so all the schools that we have mapped out so far. And then we need to start looking into what programs these courses belong to and start doing some kind of structure on how a progression towards electric mobility track or profile could look like. What kind of prerequisites do we have on the courses? Is it a showstopper, or do we need to, or can we fix it in some way so that students from different programs can take courses from other programs and so on?
So you already mapped 27 courses. So that's like quite a few, and they're spread across all 5 of KTH schools. So it really shows how interdisciplinary this is already from the get-go. Is the mapping aspect of it, is it done, or is it something that is ongoing still?
It's actually ongoing. So we first, as I said, first we have prepared, I would say, something called inventory of the courses. So Shreyash and Lakshmi, they were involved in this process where they looked into different schools and also contacted the course responsible and examiners if there was a confusion about that. And I think it was very interesting to see the replies from them when we asked if it is related to e-mobility. And that helped us to filter out the courses which we should consider if they are teaching any e-mobility or just referring to e-mobility. So I think we had quite some discussions to decide because electric transportation is anyway going to come. But then does it mean that we are actually teaching it in the course? So those are 2 different things. And
Very much,
we struggled initially actually to like finalize or deciding criteria what should go into that. But I think the replies from the course responsibles and examiners from different departments did really help us. So right now we are at the first stage of creating an inventory, which we have. And the next stage would be to discuss these courses with people from all the in a workshop mode where we will invite people from different schools and they can look at it and give their comments. What do they think? Are we still missing something? There is a possibility maybe the course name or the course description doesn't have it, but maybe in some small project they are considering electric mobility in different ways. So so we I would say the final stage of mapping, we still need to do some more discussions on that.
And it makes sense that it isn't super easy to map, because if it was easy to map, then the project wouldn't exist. So it makes sense. But Shreyash, you have also a student perspective in this. What has that meant when you come in here? Because it means also that you think, of course, on how will this be used, going forward for fellow students. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, exactly. From a student's point of view, the e-mobility program, it offers a flexible and I guess exciting opportunity to explore a growing field without entirely committing to a new degree program. And many students will therefore be able to appreciate the ability to kind of customize their education, and our project can help us accomplish that. And by integrating our electromobility focused courses into their existing studies, whether they're majoring in any of the programs at KTH, they can get a broaden their knowledge in while maintaining focus on their primary degree. So whether it's a vehicle engineering, sustainable engineering, or even chemical engineering. And yeah, as Jagruti said, a challenge for not only us who were involved in the course mapping, but also for the students, may be an unclear specialization in some of the unavailable courses. Since the degree of electromobility content varies, it becomes difficult for the students to know which courses provide a deeper dive into the subject versus courses that just touch upon it briefly. And this ambiguity can be frustrating when trying to have the competence in the field. So this can also be a problem for the students. But on the plus side, of course, the interdisciplinary nature of the minor means that students can gain a large exposure to the field, and they can gain various different expertise.
But I think it's very important also that in this project that you have this student participation and student perspective also, because sometimes we can be really blind when it comes to our own course descriptions and so on, because we're so used to them, and we spent a career deciphering them. But it's very different when you're a student and you try to maximize your learning for a rather short period of time, and you have to make choices, and those choices can be very vague unless you're fortunate enough to know a student who took this course and can describe it more. So it is sort of a metadata layer on top of existing courses, and I find very interesting, and an approach that perhaps should be applied to other cross interdisciplinary aspects as well afterwards. But I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but I find it to be so interesting because the project is not really about creating new courses or new programs. It's about mapping and perhaps also, I guess, do a gap analysis if you find blank spots or white spots, right?
Exactly. It will be a natural step, I think, in this process when we get going further into the structure and so on, to see what kind of courses exist in which program, where do we have similar course content, if we're going to create a track or a minor or what we're going to call it, or what we can actually create. Maybe we need a common project course or a common introduction course to that minor track, etc. So those kind of questions we will probably stumble upon as we do this work. And that's also the intention, of course.
Because we touched upon the first sort of two out of five areas here. It's the mapping of existing courses, structure, packaging, and communication. But then you have lifelong learning, which is also a dimension of this, of course, because if it's really interesting to our students, it might be interesting also to those who are already out there doing a career as an engineer. Can you say anything about that working group and what aspects that will shine a light upon?
Yeah, so that's also been part of the discussion from early on, since some of the teachers as well have this good setup of creating a new course, and it's also a lifelong learning course simultaneously or parallelly, or how you mentioned. So this is also a part of it, and there is a need from the industry as well to have this electric mobility lifelong learning course content. And if we are doing this mapping and finding a new way to communicate this, we can also do it for lifelong learning as well, which will be beneficial for that and for our companies around Sweden.
What reactions have you come across from those who are course responsible for these courses? Some of them I suspect have been around for a little while at least. Have you met with interest or?
Yeah, well, when I emailed those those course responsible, asking them about the course. Most of them, they knew already how much e-mobility was involved in the course, and a lot of them did touch up on it. But yes, like I said, most of them only touched up on it. There was no proper specialization for the most part. Of course, there were some that focused directly on e-mobility.
So in a way, you're also creating a community among course responsible who have most likely a shared interest or even passion, perhaps, for this. But so that's also an interesting sort of dimension of this project. What do you expect to find during this? I mean, of course, you expect to find courses that are relevant. Do you expect to find enough, or do you think there will be a lot of white spots that you will have to sort of address? What's the feeling? I know it's initial, but still.
I think, as you said, like we looked into different schools, and what we discovered that there are different perspectives of e-mobility as well. So it's not only from automotive or energy, because I come from energy, so I was only thinking from infrastructure and needs. But when we looked into the courses, we actually realized there are so many dimensions, and that are actually being picked up in the courses at KTH for sure. So that is very good. And while I was having discussions with Lakshmi and Shreyash, they also belong to different fields of engineering, I would say. So that also brings a lot to the table, that what are their expectations when we say electric mobility, because like an electronics or instrumentation student would have different requirements. But if they look into the courses that we are going to get, maybe they will learn another dimension. And I think that is where we can really contribute. We can figure out, okay, we do have a lot of engineering related, but maybe there is something missing on more on like urban transportation or mobility aspect, not only the infrastructure studies, something like that. Or maybe we are missing something on infrastructure or the impact on the network related studies, some very specific fields when you have more electric mobility. I think we will definitely come across that based on our initial, I would say, analysis of the inventory that we have. Maybe we can definitely come up with some more suggestions that if you could include some basics of these different dimensions, that could really help, like students to learn e-mobility, or even the people from industry, they could be interested, I would say. So I think the input from Shreyash and Lakshmi would be really good on these aspects. But the workshop that we are planning to do, I think with other schools would also help us to maybe, identify the courses which we may have missed because they don't have transportation or anything related to mobility in them. There is a possibility, because there are so many ways to name the same thing. That's another thing we encountered: sustainable, carbon neutral, just saying batteries or something like that. So there's a possibility we may also find some more courses which we may have missed, in addition to the blind spots that we are thinking of. And that's also another thing that we as KTH need to see if we want to go into that direction, like including social aspects around it, or is that an interest when we offer our courses? So yeah, I would say we will definitely have something that we are missing, I would say, in that sense.
But cool. And how's the timeline for the project? I mean, you started fairly recently already. You have harvested quite a number of potential courses, and you know more about them. How's the timeline of the project?
Yeah, so if we look at that, we have the mapping work essentially this autumn. The plan was also, after the mapping, to start preparing for the intake of new students and have something on the web. But that time plan is probably not going to hold, since we have a process internally at KTH as well, to make sure that what we put on the web page is good quality, etc. So it's going to take a bit longer than that, but at least we're going to have a first mock-up to present to the people who design the web, and then that process can start from there, and then we'll see how long that takes before we can get something up on the web. We also hope, and if someone is listening from Civilingenjör and Lärande, we hope that we can get some student who would like to do a master thesis connected to our project, because could be a lot of barriers, etc., that is interesting to dig a bit deeper into when doing these kind of minor theme diploma in electric mobility, etc. So continuing on the mapping that we have done, looking at how we can actually create this profile within the educational system that we have. And how would a diploma look like, and all these kind of questions.
Yeah, small questions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but because the fifth working group is identification of obstacles. I love that one. What obstacles have you identified so far? Because we have courses, there is materia there matter, there's something. But have there been any aha or oh no moments so far?
Well, some obstacles that we need to be aware of. We have all increased quite heavily the intake of students. And if we should start moving students from program to program, we need to be aware of it might be a problem in some courses due to too many students, etc. You need to double the teaching effort and so on if you get too many. So this is something we need to be aware of amongst and discuss with our course responsibles and program directors as well.
I think this is, I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer. Of course we should do this, but because we should be able to sort of pin together various courses depending on a lot of different dimensions. So I think if this turns out to be fruitful, and we do get a web interface that makes it easier for students to take informed decisions when it comes to which courses map with regards to a certain topic, then I think we will see more of it. But that is, of course, the visual thinking. But this is the first time we do something like this, right?
Not sure. Maybe yes.
I am not sure either. So
maybe no. But at least we might have quite many different type of topics coming in the future as well, and this could be one way of being a bit quicker in showcasing what we actually are teaching already, without creating a new program, creating a heavy structure around it and so on.
Yeah,
but more virtually, as we write in the application as well. Yeah. Connect what we already have to that specific area that is in focus.
I do really think it feels like a no-brainer. This is what we need to do in order to also use because we have such a spread of courses. There are so many courses within the university being taught each year. But sometimes it's not easy from the outside to see what connects and what doesn't connect. So you need to do this sort of analysis a bit more in depth than just searching the website or the admission site. It's not always enough, I think, in order to showcase the variety that we do offer. I was a little bit quick in the beginning because normally, and I want you guys now instead to tell me a little bit about who are you and what do you do at KTH? I'm so sorry, I missed that, but I was a little bit stressed. So if we start with you, Mikael, how long have you been at KTH and what do you do here?
Yeah, so I came to KTH in after summer 2010. Started at the group Vehicle Dynamics, where I still am. So I'm currently associate professor in Vehicle Dynamics, where my research interest is human-vehicle interaction, as well as over-actuated vehicles and what we can do with them in many different aspects. And I'm also the program director then of vehicle engineering program, hence why I am engaged in this specific project. as well.
Great. And Shreyash, you're a student.
Yeah, I'm a second year bachelor student at Technique or mechanical engineering. And yeah, so I'm in second year right now.
And already involved in the university development.
Yeah.
I tip my hat to you. We need more student perspective always, and not just by having a meeting, actually working together and getting that perspective, because you can read a book about what students think, but that doesn't cut it. We need to have students with us in order to sort of vet the ideas that we come up with. So really great. Jagruti?
I'm an assistant professor at the Department of Energy Technology. I joined this department in 2018 as a postdoctoral researcher, and since then I continue to work. And now I'm working at the Division of Heat and Power Technology here. And yes, I work with the Swedish municipalities on local energy community related projects, as well as I'm also involved in integrate climate, land, energy, water system models for different countries through EU projects. So I work quite a bit with, I would say, like I focus more on the distribution network, a lot of integration of different distributed energy technologies and how they interact with the grid, how they interact with the markets. So yeah, using different types of, I would say, methods which involve AI or optimization, yeah, using different tools like that.
It's because you have quite a spread when it comes to your topics, and yet you unite in this venture. So that's also very good to see, and it's good to see that we have this cross-school collaboration, which is also something we always strive for, but not always achieve. But hopefully, Framtidens utbildning as this change program, that we can see more of this, and also that the methods that we develop are documented and also possible to use for other applications. Because I think, like we said several times here, this method of creating sort of a context where for different courses, given us a certain topic, should be something that we can see more of in the future. And so hopefully it will also bear those results. But of course, I also wish you the best of luck with this project and its results, because that is, of course, what's important to you. Any final words? Has it been fun so far?
Yes.
Short
I
and
love
sweet.
working multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, and all of those kind of words. It's fun. You learn a lot.
And I learned a lot from just talking to you guys for 30 minutes. I'm very, very happy to be able to have this conversation, and thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me. We will have a link in the description of this pod, so you can find the project information there, and you can always reach out to the people involved in the project if you want to learn more, because we usually tend to like to tell people about what we are doing and share it. So do not hesitate to get in touch with any of us who's been in this program.
Nice to.
Thank you so much, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.